Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Stockton, and this is episode 5 of the Motion Pix Lab podcast, where I talk about my journey of making a feature film while working a full-time non-film related job and raising a family. I wasn't sure if I was going to have anything to share this week on the podcast. It was my birthday weekend, it's actually tomorrow, and we had a lot of plans. I've been pretty busy at work also. But then Saturday morning, I woke up around 4 a.m. I know, super early, right? And I had just a ton of ideas. So I spent the next few quiet hours while everybody else was sleeping, revising the rough draft. My original script was sitting at around 71 pages, which is pretty short for a feature. Most features are in the 90 to 120 page range, I believe. So I lengthened several scenes that were not really telling enough story. I added some interesting dialogue. I also added a scene that my wife had suggested to me when she read the first draft. And I also, with fresh eyes, was able to go in and tweak the humor a little bit, add a few little points here and there. We're now sitting at around 80 pages. I still have the script out to a couple of buddies of mine for their notes, so I'm anxious to get those back. And I imagine they'll have story points to add, which should get us pretty close to a standard feature-length script. Now, granted, I'm much more interested in telling an interesting story than hitting a certain length for my first feature, but there's enough ideas around this project, I think we can probably do both. So that's what I'm aiming for. This week, I also got a new idea for a new script. I've started working on it a little bit. I've got some story points down, and I began writing a few things on the script. I'm not sure if it's going to be a feature or a short just yet, as it's just starting to materialize, so stay tuned for that. I may be talking about that script on here more as time goes on, so we'll see how that goes. Now, you may be wondering why we are 5 episodes in, and I haven't talked specifically about the stories I'm writing. I'm not sure if I'm going to reveal those on the podcast. My hope is to build an audience and some anticipation for the film if it should ever come to materialize someday. And also, I want to have the freedom to pivot to other ideas as time goes by if things aren't going so well on the feature or there are delays. So I may be going back and forth between different things, and I'll try to be clear about what I'm talking about as time goes on. Now, the next couple of weeks are going to be super busy. I will likely be doing a 48-hour film festival with a buddy of mine this coming week. I like to do those from time to time. They're fun. I enjoy just getting that creative spark going and keeping my skills sharp, especially in the midst of doing longer projects like a feature film. It allows me to get something made as well. And to be fair, I'm super competitive by nature, so I enjoy combining that with filmmaking. It's just fun for me. And also, I'll be traveling for work the following week. As you recall, this is a podcast about working a full-time non-film related job while trying to do this project. So that's going to pop up from time to time. So with those things in mind, it might be a couple or a few weeks before I get another podcast out or really have anything interesting to talk about since I'm going to be very busy. So that's it for this episode. If you have questions, thoughts, or simply want to say hey, please email me, motionpixlab@gmail.com, motionpix, P-I-X, lab@gmail.com. Lastly, it would be a huge help to the podcast if you would follow, share, and rate the podcast. That goes a long way toward increasing listenership and awareness around the project. So yeah, that's it. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.